Hey, welcome back to another video here. I'm Dr. Jason Schwietz with Maplewood Chiropractic Health Center, and in this video we're going to be talking about sciatica. The very first symptom that most people might be dealing with is some generalized back pain. You know, it might start off as kind of back pain. It might be mild, it might be moderate, it could even be severe. Some patients do come in with already some severe cases of it. Generally, when it does get more severe, because we're talking about the sciatica nerve being pinched at the nerve roots, which we'll explain here in a little bit more using some pictures and models, but generally when you have that nerve being pinched as well, you're going to have some secondary symptoms. You might have some referring pain or shooting pain, you know, down the back of into your butt, or down to the back of the leg. You know, it might be numbness and tingling. There could be some weakness involved in the leg. Maybe all of a sudden, you know, your leg basically gives out as you're walking or doing something. It's really bizarre what can happen when you do have sciatica. So how do you get sciatica? You know, really, it could be from anything. I mean, maybe it's accidents, injuries, maybe it's just something that, you know, kind of acutely came on. You know, maybe you're sitting, you got a sedentary lifestyle, you're sitting at a desk a lot, or maybe you're putting a lot of stress in your low back. And it could be the old saying, you know, the straw that broke the camel's back. Literally, it could just be one day you're fine, the next day you have sciatica and back pain. We've seen that happen. But most times when it comes through the door, when we get patients in here that have it, you know, they've kind of known they've had a problem for a few weeks or maybe even a month or something like that before they get in here and start treating it. And so to help you guys understand a little bit more about what sciatica is, I'm gonna pause the video and we're gonna go ahead and show you some pictures to help you understand the anatomy of the spine, the spinal cord, the nerves coming off the sciatic nerve, and talk more about that. So when we're talking about sciatica, what we're gonna be talking about is we're gonna be talking about the lumbar spine, which is way down here. The last 5 vertebrae inside of your spinal column is the lumbar spine. So what you can see happening here is there's these yellow branches coming out. Those are your nerves. So what happens is at the very beginning of that nerve, as it leaves your spinal column, that's called a nerve root. Kind of like a plant, you got a root. So as the nerve root leaves the spinal column, it branches out. I like to have you guys think of this as like a garden hose. You know, so it has that garden hose type of an effect where if you pinch the nerve root way up here, it can actually have symptoms that present down the nerve. It can go out and down, all the way down, and like I was saying earlier, your butt, your legs, even down to your feet or toes. And so that's classically what sciatica is. It's irritation to these roots as they leave your spinal column. So what we have here, you know, you have the vertebrae, those are the bones, and then in between the bones you have the discs, and then through the back side of the spinal column you have your spinal cord, which goes from the top to the bottom, and then outside of that, as you guys can see here, you have these branches. These are your nerves here. Basically, again, like I was talking about on the poster there, you have the nerve root, and then this extends out like a hose, right? It runs, some of these nerves are short and they connect into others. Other ones run the entirety of your entire extremity all the way down to your feet and toes. So these nerves are responsible for traveling information from your brain out to a body part, whether it's sensation or muscle strength. It's constantly communicating back and forth. And so just like a garden hose, if your spine's out of alignment and it's starting to pinch the nerve here or put pressure on a nerve, that's where sciatica can come from. And so the way that your spine should normally look is it should look like this from front to back. It should be perfectly straight up and down. And the reason why is, I hope you guys can see this okay on the video, but there's also these little holes right about here, you know, this one too. There's these holes when your spine's perfectly lined up. Those are called foramen. And basically that's a hole created to allow your nerve, if you will use my fingers here, you know, it's allowing your nerve to go through the hole just like that with no stress or any kind of pressure or pinching on it. And that's essentially what you want. So what happens though is when your spine's out of alignment, that foramen, that hole, can actually become physically smaller, thus, you know, inducing pressure on the nerve branch or pinching it to some degree, and that could be where your sciatica is coming from. And so what do you do if you have sciatica? What are some options that you may have to relieve it? Very simply, a couple, you know, maybe joining something like a yoga class. You know, there's been studies that show that yoga can be very beneficial because what you're doing is you're gonna get in, you're gonna stretch it out. Some of the muscles in your spine might be very tense, it might be tight. Again, if you're leading a sedentary lifestyle, things like to stiffen up over time, which also can lead to degenerative changes. Another option that you may have, again, massage therapy, also beneficial for this. going in and have a massage therapist concentrate on the muscles in your back. And again, if things are really tight and stiff and locked up down there, it can have an effect on the nerve roots as well, and it could create some of that pressure or pinching that we talked about that might cause sciatica. A third thing obviously is chiropractic care, which we provide here in the office. We've had patients come in with sciatica. Sometimes it's mild cases, sometimes it's even severe. I've had people literally walking in, you should stand upright when you walk, right? They're leaning, sideways, they're tipping out of it, they can hardly walk, they got the pain going down the leg, and we've been able to help them as well. And it's important to make sure you find out where the problem is, before you start to adjust the spine. But again, chiropractic can be very beneficial if you do have sciatica. Another thing that you could do is just some stretches. There's a lot of stretches on the internet about sciatica. We'll link some of this up in our webpage so you can see this. But again, just kind of stretching the muscles at home, doing it once or twice a day is usually what I would recommend, trying to work through some of this. Making sure you're stretching out like the glute muscles, your back muscles, any kind of hip flexors and things of that nature. There's lots of different muscles down there, and I'll be happy to share some of those links as well. So basically those things would really help with your sciatica if you are suffering from sciatica. We would love, if anybody here is looking for help, if they're really dealing with this and they're just kind of, at the end of the road with it and they're just tired of dealing with it, make sure you give us a call, leave us a question in the comment section, whatever it is, we'll do whatever we can. If we can help you, we'd love to. We'd absolutely love to do that. And so again, that is sciatica. Basically in a nutshell is it's a pinched nerve coming off your low back. It's some sort of irritation, inflammation to the nerve root, and generally that will cause your back pain, sending that pain down the leg. So again, this has been all about sciatica. Hopefully it's been beneficial. Some of it's been, informational for you. Hopefully you learned some things. Check out the comments below. Check out the links below if you need anything. Also comment and get a hold of us. And we really appreciate you guys watching these videos, and we'll keep making them as long as you guys enjoy them and keep watching them. And we definitely look forward to seeing you guys at the next video.